From planning to build the ultimate rival, truthgpt, to claiming OpenAI wouldn't even exist without him, here's a closer look at Elon Musk's plan to take on OpenAI. Let's face it, with every science fiction movie out there, you know AI's gonna take over once it becomes too powerful for humans to control it. And with AI rising to the top with DALL-E, ChatGPT, and a gazillion other versions, Musk decided to go in another direction and create a maximum truth-seeking AI that's focused on the nature of the universe, truthgpt. Basically, the whole idea behind it is that a version of AI that understands the universe isn't gonna annihilate humans, just because we're all the interesting bit of the universe after all. Think about it. Musk's not wrong when he talks about the dangers of AI, like how it can easily lead to the destruction of civilizations, so he's not on board with how things are moving forward with the newer version of ChatGPT either. But while I'm at it, let me tell you that Musk and OpenAI have quite a history. Long story short, Musk co-founded OpenAI back in 2015 alongside CEO Sam Altman and a few others, only to permanently leave the company's board in 2018. Sure, at the time he claimed it was just to avoid a potential conflict of interest with Tesla, but later on, he confessed that it was because he didn't agree with a lot of what the OpenAI team wanted to do. I mean, that's probably why ever since he stepped down from OpenAI's board, he's become the company's biggest critic. Back in February 2023, he called it a closed-source, maximum profit company effectively controlled by Microsoft, even though he created OpenAI as an open source instead. Meanwhile, Altman has a very different take on all of this, because while he claims that the Tesla CEO attacked OpenAI on Twitter, Musk is still one of his heroes. And all the social media attacks are just because he's concerned about AGI safety. But not everyone thinks the same way. It turns out, Musk even tried to take over as the CEO of the company back in 2018, but had to walk away when Altman and others weren't on board with the idea. If you ask me, he's definitely regretting that move now. Think about it. He made a $100 million investment in a non-profit company, only for it to turn into a $30 billion market cap for profit without him. With the kind of ego Musk has, it's definitely not easy to digest this kind of success. On top of that, at the time, Musk had other headaches to deal with, like the fact that Tesla was struggling to keep up with the production goals of its Model 3 sedan, and the company's future was bleak at best. And while the conflict of interest was just a cover to hide his actual motives of taking over OpenAI, it was still true. I mean, Tesla already picked one of OpenAI's best minds, Andrej Karpathy, who's now the architect of Tesla's autonomous driving program. But if you ask me, it's still not the real reason. Because an OpenAI announcement claimed that Musk was going to continue to fund the organization, donating $1 billion over a few years, but his payment stopped right after his departure. So the company moved to Microsoft a couple of months later for the $1 billion investment. And I'm sure you know his deal was worth a lot more than just money, because this time they were partnering up with a tech giant with whom they built a supercomputer to train massive models that eventually pushed out ChatGPT and the image generator DALL-E. Fast forward to now, he can't digest ChatGPT's massive popularity that's come to the top without him. In just the first 2 months, the chatbot crossed 100 million monthly active users, while Musk was gathering signatures for an open letter that called for a pause on advanced AI development, only to announce the development of truthgpt a month later. I gotta be honest with you, I'm not too sure if he'd be signing the same letter if he was the CEO of OpenAI instead. Meanwhile, ChatGPT got a little upgrade to its technology and now released a newer version, GPT-4, which was 1 trillion parameters. And this time, I'm not sure if you'll be able to tell the difference between a human writer and GPT-4 anymore. In fact, a bunch of users tested the version and had the chatbot writing poetry, solving computer bugs, and even passing exams. With that kind of potential, some of the technical giants like Microsoft and Expedia rolled the tech into their own products. So you've got help with everything you need, from searching the internet to booking the perfect holiday trip. At the same time, as the hottest new tech startup, it had Google scrambling just to be able to catch up to their speed, which had Musk furious. But let's not get carried away, mostly because none of us are really sure about the accuracy of the information, even when it comes to ChatGPT. Just try it yourself and you'll see that sometimes it's going to push out false results with a lot of confidence. Sure, ChatGPT's out there passing medical and law exams, But Musk isn't gonna let these kinds of errors slide. And that's exactly why Musk is demanding better regulation of AI. Because it's developing rapidly, and humans might not be able to catch up soon enough. On top of that, now it's in the hands of a ruthless corporate monopoly. Speaking of which, the Tesla CEO's self-driving cars have been under a microscope too for as long as I can remember, especially when over 360,000 of the vehicles were recalled in 2023, because their software could potentially cause a crash. That said, now, he's a huge fan of the government stepping in to control the development of AI because he claims that this technology is far more dangerous than the rockets and cars he's building right now. All he's doing right now is shifting the focus to the generative AI services, and it seems like at least some of the governments are starting to take him seriously, like the Chinese government that pulled out tight restrictions for AI services. Basically, generative AI services have to follow the same guidelines of the rest of the internet in China, and that's not all. In March 2023, Italy became the first country to outright ban ChatGPT, while the country's data protection authorities are going to investigate its collection of user information. To top it off, EU law enforcement agency Europol also warned that criminals might be using ChatGPT to spread false information, to threaten and cause chaos in society. But while the world's trying to gain control over the spread of generative AI, the real question is, when will we see truthgpt? Well, it seems like while the Tesla CEO is still building a team for his AI startup right now, he's already dipped his toes into a new business, xAI Corp. But even after all that, the actual dispute between Musk and OpenAI is far bigger than you think because OpenAI has put Google on its heels, and Musk has nothing to do with the hottest thing in tech. And that's even after he played a major role in its foundation, only to walk away. I mean, it's gotta sting. And if that wasn't enough, Musk considers himself the whole reason why OpenAI exists in the first place. According to the Tesla CEO, he invested about $50 million just to get it off the ground. But he didn't stop there, and went on to recruit a team of scientists and engineers, out of which Ilya Sutskever was the reason behind OpenAI's success. Fast forward 7 years later, and in November 2022, OpenAI launched the first iteration of its ChatGPT chatbot, which took the world by storm. Now Musk claims the idea was to create the opposite of Google, and there were lots of discussions over the danger of AI, but Larry Page, the co-founder of Google, wasn't so concerned about it. And even though the idea of overtaking Google was pretty exciting, Musk knew it was a hopeless endeavor at best, especially after Google took over a UK-based artificial intelligence research lab, DeepMind Technologies, for $500 million. With the tech giants fighting, it seems like they're missing the fact that artificial intelligence is a double-edged sword, and they need to be careful before it's too late. And while most founder disputes revolve around the Benjamins and credit for an idea, it's not the case with Musk, the world's richest man. Nope, for him it's more about ego, power, and control. On the other hand, Altman's not after the money either. Instead, it might shock you, but he doesn't even own a tiny piece of OpenAI. And it's personal for him too, because as CEO of OpenAI, it's his comeback story, and he won't let Musk take over, at least not when Altman's got the edge here. So, from claiming OpenAI wouldn't even exist without him, to planning to build the ultimate rival, truthgpt, that was all on Elon Musk's plan to take on OpenAI.